Well, as many of you may know, November is Men's Health Awareness Month. It is a time to remind all men to take charge of their well-being.
Our Derek Rush sat down with former WIS anchor Len Kiese, who nearly lost his life to a heart attack and is now urging other men to make their health a priority.
Well, that's right, ladies. If you grew up here in the Midlands like I did, or have been a viewer for a long time, Len Kiese was one of those familiar faces who warmed your screens. But in 2024, at just 45 years old, Len suffered a massive heart attack, one that forced him to make a major lifestyle change. And Len now wants to get the word out about how heart health, especially for men, is essential.
I first have to say it was the scariest moment of my life. You know, every now and then you get an ailment or, you know, a tightening of the chest, but I just immediately knew this was not that. It was a more intense feeling. I just something told me in that moment to Google, you know, what are the signs of a heart attack or the symptoms? And everything that I read, I was feeling in that moment.
For years, Len Kiese lived life in the fast lane.
So I want to keep you motivated with who we're now dubbing Len's losers. In this case, it's okay to be called a loser. So
Balancing long hours, early mornings, and constant deadlines. But one night last year, everything changed.
I had to find all the strength in my body to make it downstairs, unlock the door, then call 911.
The former TV anchor, now communications specialist in Florida, was just 45 years old when doctors told him that he was having a massive heart attack.
I spent lots and lots of years in television news doing the early morning news. So my sleep pattern still hasn't recovered from that. So it's just a mixture of everything.
Now, Len says his priorities have shifted. He's intentional about rest, diet, and exercise. And he's encouraging other men to do the same before it's too late.
The heart attack just really gave me a wake-up call and forced me to just sit down and take some rest. I'm gonna just tell you, Derek, if it's not affecting my family, if it's not something that deserves to be at the top of the list, I try not to stress about it now. It is what it is.
Dr. Cedric McFadden, a men's health specialist at Prisma Health, says Len's experience reflects a larger concern. More men are developing serious heart issues at younger ages. Is that so uncommon nowadays to hear that type of report at that age? Because typically you think heart attacks, you think a little bit older.
The heart attack you may see in your 60s or 70s, it didn't start at 60s or 70s. The precursors for that heart attack started in the 20s, 30s, and 40s. And so that's not uncommon now because our diets have changed, our lifestyle has changed.
What are some of the good practices that are encouraged to stay on top of being active?
Well, the American Heart Association, they still recommend that you get at least 150 minutes of moderate intensity exercise every week. So that's the kind of exercise that as you're doing it, you notice you're out of breath, making sure that you're getting your fruit, your vegetables every day. And you should probably be getting more fiber than most people are thinking, because if you're getting the fiber, you won't be as hungry. So you're thinking 20 to 30 grams of fiber every single day.
For Len, it's a message that's become his personal mission. So knowing what you know now, what would you say to Len Kiese 2 years ago about prioritizing his health?
Ooh, that's a good question. That is a good question. I would say, Len, if you want to be alive in this world, walking this earth, still spending time with your family and friends, you got to do better. You have to make yourself a priority. You have to make your health a priority, because you want to be here in this world.
Now, you know, Len tells me that he still sticks to a weekly workout routine and watches his sugar and sodium during the week, but still enjoys a few cheat meals on weekends. He says moderation, not deprivation, has made all the difference. And after stepping away from television news, Len now works in communications, using his voice to inspire others to take their health seriously. Really great conversation there, ladies.
Oh my goodness.
And one of the things that really stuck out to me was that he said he he didn't deprive himself of some of those things that he still loves, but just working around it a little bit.
Well, listen, I'm so glad. First of all, you know, we all love Len. I know so many of our viewers remember Len. But when I saw his post on social media, I was like, this can't be real, you know? And so when you expressed an interest to want to do some stories specifically about men's health for November, I was so glad you reached out to Len and that he was so willing to share his story, because I know it will really resonate with a lot of people. So thank you for taking the time, Derek. It was wonderful.
Especially the younger. I mean, it's important to get the word out that it's not at a certain age. You can be young and still have health problems.
Yep, it's definitely something to keep an eye out on. And what a conversation we had. I wish there was more we could have included, but a great conversation. Len, thank you so much. Also,
thank you both.
Going to be a good series.
Really appreciate it, Derek. Thank you.
Derek, thank you so much for sharing that story.
Well, heart disease remains the leading cause of death for men in the United States, and here in South Carolina, it actually accounts for about 1 in every 4 male deaths. That's according to the latest information available from the CDC.